I just did my Jenga, but I also have quite a few other books that I need to read. So this is going to be a really big stack for March, but that's okay because I've also got spring break during this month, which means that I have tons of reading tons of time that I can do reading in. And a lot of these books that I'm about to show you are mysteries and thrillers and middle grade books. I can read 3 middle grade books in like a sitting. So let me just kind of, I guess, begin at the very beginning. So some books that I know I'm going to have to read this month we'll start with Dickens. So I'm going to be reading The Old Curiosity Shop. I've never read this. The only thing I know about it is that there's a character named Nell, and spoiler alert, she dies. So I know that. But I've got Charles Dickens' The Old Curiosity Shop, which has to be read. It's already marked out for how many days that I want to spend reading it. And I'm excited to read another Charles Dickens that I really don't know all that much about. I really, really enjoy his worlds, and I'm so happy that I'm taking this trip into Charles Dickens' world this year. So this is my Charles Dickens for the month. And then for my In Real Life book club, it's my turn to pick, and I am going to suggest Memorial by Brian Washington. I'm picking this one because I read that it has some feel-good vibes, but it also deals with some important current day topics, and it is an own voices novel as well. So I'm excited to share this and read this with my friends and see what they have to say about the experience. Other than that, I really don't know all that much about it. So I guess we'll find out. But this is my In Real Life book club pick. And then for the Read Harder Challenge, normally I'm doing 2 books a month, and that gets me through the 24 prompts. But this month, because one of my choices is a YA and one is a middle grade, I'm actually just going to do 3 books this month. So first, I'm going to do Body Positivity in a Romance. I'm going to read Fat Chance Charlie Vega. This is a YA, and I don't know much about it other than it should be full of body positivity, and that it features a plus-size character and a romance. And then I'm going to read for the prompt about LGBTQIA+ history. I'm going to read Legendary Children, the First Decade of RuPaul's Drag Race, and the Last Century of Queer Life. I don't know a whole lot about this history, and so I'm really excited to read this, and I've heard really great things about it, and that cover just makes me super happy. So excited about that one. And then finally, I'm going to be reading Real Friends, which is a graphic novel, a middle grade graphic novel, and I believe, I can't remember what the prompt is for this one, and so I'm reading Real Friends for that, and I'll find out after I read it, before I write my review. I will figure out what exactly the prompt is that this one is for. I picked quite a lot of books because they were quite small, so I went ahead and just kept picking. And I've been reading in January and February, both months. I read 18 to 20 books, so each month. So I want to make sure that I love the mood read, but I also want to make sure that I have enough like purposefully picked books to keep me going for the whole month. So otherwise I tend to go, I wonder what's at Book Outlet. So I want to stack my TBR with books that I already own, books that I'm pulling off my shelf now for the Jenga game. So one of the first tiles that I picked from Jenga, the prompt was mass market paperback, and so I picked Drearcliff Grange School by Kim Newman. This is a book that I picked up years ago in an airport before boarding a plane because I didn't have a book on me, and never read it. I think I read the first, yep, there's a dog ear here. So according to my dog ear, I read the first 15 pages, probably in the first 5 minutes on the plane. And then I didn't read it anymore, and I never picked it up again. But the first 15 pages were apparently gripping enough that I keep moving around the world with this book. So I'm going to finally read this one and hope that it has been worth all of the space it has taken up in moving trucks. Then at some point I picked a YA book. Like the tag said YA, and I think this is a middle grade, but I'm going to count it as a YA, and that is A Place Called Perfect. They've got their eyes on you. This is such a beautiful book. This is so beautiful. Like, I can't even get over how beautiful this is. I don't know much about this one. From what I understand, it is a dystopian society. There's a mystery. It's on the cusp of middle grade YA, so I'm going to count it for YA, and I'm also going to count it for middle grade since this is going to be middle grade March, and I'm also going to count it for mysteries because we read mysteries in March. So I'm super excited about that, but also just how beautiful is that book? It's just one of the most beautiful covers ever. So pretty. And then I picked a middle grade. I pulled the tag, so I just pulled the first book off of my already like curated middle grade stack of books, and that is Listening for Lions by Gloria Whalen. This is the winner of the National Book Award. It is about a girl who's growing up, I think, in Africa. Super excited about this one. I don't know much about it, but again, the cover is beautiful. It is a middle grade, therefore I know it will be heartfelt. And I really enjoy reading books about people who are immersed in cultures that are not their own. So this will be fun. Then I picked that one that was like philosophy, spirituality, religion tile. And so this might be a stretch, but I'm going to read this one because I want to. I'm going to read Culture Warlords by Talia Lavin, My Journey into the Dark Web of White Supremacy. So I've been very curious about this one. I've had it sitting on my shelf, not for a long time, but for a few weeks. So I will definitely be reading this one, and I'm going to say that it fits the category because this is an ideology, this is a philosophy, and I want to, do I want? Want is a weird word. I'm going to read about the inner workings of that philosophy. I picked mystery. Or no, I didn't. Did I pick true crime? I picked true crime. And so I'm going to read The Wicked Boy, which is the mystery of a Victorian child murderer by Kate Summerscale. I have tried to read this one before and gotten sidetracked. I tried to read it before I went to London once, and it was a library book copy and I had to return it. I didn't get very far into it anyway. And then I think, yeah, it's got the dot on the bottom. So Book Outlet had it a while back and I got a copy of it and I haven't read it yet. And it's really heavy. It's got a lot of heft and weight to it. It's a really pretty book. So I'm going to read it. True crime, 1800s true crime, but true crime nonetheless. Then I picked a poetry tile, so I'm going to read The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. And I picked a mystery tile, and so I'm going to read The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce. I don't know anything about these books, which is why I'm not telling you. And then I picked magazine. I have so many magazines that I haven't read, and so I went through the basket that I have right here, and I picked this journaling issue. This is from October, November, December of 2016. And I've thumbed through it, but I haven't read it. And so I'm going to give it an actual read and decide if it is something that I need to keep or if it is something that I can unhaul. And then I have 2 more stacks here. So as if that weren't enough to read, I do have a stack of middle grade books and I do have a stack of mysteries that I would like to get through this month. So on my middle grade stack, there is Miracles on Maple Hill by Virginia Sorensen. Somebody on, I think it's Dickens and Docs, shared that they're going to read this with a group of people. I don't know if I'll join the group of people on Instagram reading it, but I'd never heard of it and it looked awesome. So I decided that I wanted to give this a read. So I'm adding this to my TBR for middle grade March. And then I wanted to read Spindrift and the Orchid, which I got for my birthday haul back in December. But I wanted to read this specifically along with The Old Curiosity Shop because something about it just reminds me of The Old Curiosity Shop. So I definitely want to read this one the same month that I read that one for middle grade March. And then there is The Tragical Tale of Birdie Bloom. This was also part of my birthday book haul, and I am looking forward to reading this one. It's got dragons and witches and all sorts of fun things on the cover, and I think it's just going to be a really fun middle grade fantasy. And then finally, I would like to read Scary Stories for Young Foxes. I don't remember who I heard talking about this one, but it's been on my radar for a while and I had the opportunity to get a copy of it, so I did, and I haven't had the chance to read it yet, but I'm excited to add this to my middle grade March pile. And then I have a stack of books that I would like to read because I read mysteries in March. These are thrillers and mysteries and very consumable, very fast-paced, very readable. So I don't think they'll take me much time at all. I've got The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I've heard so much about this one. So I'm looking forward to that. I've got Case Histories by Kate Atkinson. I cannot tell you how many people have told me that I should read this one. Finally doing it. I've got The Family Plot, which I think might be more of a horror story than an actual mystery / thriller, but I guess I'll find out. I'm adding it to that stack. Then I've got the book that I just got for Galentine's Day from my wonderful Galentine pal. This is In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. This is my last one by Ruth Ware that I haven't read yet, so I'm really excited. I know that I think I read them like middle to newest. Now I'm reading like backwards to oldest. But I think this was her first one, and I don't know anything about it at all, but I know I love Ruth Ware, so I'm super excited to read that one. And then I have The Glass Woman, which the description of gives me Jane Eyre retelling vibes, so we'll see how that goes, but it takes place in Iceland, and I'm all about Iceland right now. I don't know. And then another one in Iceland, we've got The Sacrament, and I'm excited to read this one, although I think this one's going to be very, very, very dark. So there you have it. 23 books on my March TBR. Well, they're not all books, but 23 pieces of reading material on my March TBR. Everything from magazines to poetry to middle grade to YA to romance to mystery to horror to classics to nonfiction, true crime. I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited about this. I'd like to get started now. Technically it's February, but I don't care. I've also got 2 books from February that I haven't finished yet, that I'm halfway through both of them, and I will finish those first. I'm going to make myself finish those before I start on any of these March books, except for maybe the Dickens, because I need to start that right away. But I'm still reading Once Upon a River, which I will finish within the first couple of days of March. I just didn't fit it in. I missed a couple of reading days at the end of February here, so I'm a couple days behind, so I'll finish that in March. And then along with that, I'm reading a book called Crossings. It is very weird, and I'm about halfway through it. It's a slower read, it's a slower burn, but it's very good. And I will finish that within the first week of March, I'm sure. So I will finish those and then I will start on these, and I'm so excited, and many of these will read very quickly, very, very quickly. Just because I read this much doesn't mean I expect anybody else to read this much. And believe me, I don't read the most. Like, there are friends that I have who read way more than me in a month. I'm excited about maybe a kind of lighter month. Last month and January both were pretty heavy. So while the sheer number of books is quite intense, maybe the content will be a little bit cheerier. Although I did just name a ton of thrillers, so one person's cheer is another person's thrill. Anyway, if you've read any of these, let me know. If you're excited about any of these, let me know. If you're doing middle grade March, if you read mysteries in March, if you are excited about Charles Dickens, or if you have a stack of old magazines that you're trying to read through, let me know. Let me know. Are you doing the Read Harder Challenge? What have you picked for those categories? What LGBTQIA plus book are you reading about history for that challenge? What body positive romance are you reading for that challenge? I have a Facebook friend group who were all reading books for that challenge, for the Read Harder Challenge, and some people have picked some romances that just did not sit well with them. So I'm hoping, I've got my fingers crossed that I've picked a quote-unquote good one. We will find out. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go enjoy what little bit, it looks really sunny over there, but really that's my plant lamp. There's very little sun. In fact, I think we're under a flood warning right now. So I'm gonna go enjoy what little sun I can left in my afternoon, finish my now cold cup of last coffee for the day, and relax a little bit.